Hey, Sun Devil fans, Brad Denny with 3TV, CBS 5, and the Speak of the Devils podcast here. And welcome back to another episode of the Speak of the Devils Sitdown Series, where I bring you in-depth one-on-one conversations with key players, coaches, and other figures throughout Sun Devil athletics. Artist, honor student, future architectural engineer, playmaker. Kyson Brown is a lot of things, and as Sun Devil fans saw in last Saturday's season opener, the young man they call Sipp is primed to be a big part of ASU's present and future. On this episode, we discuss his football origins in Mississippi and Texas, his biggest plays, what spurred his interest in engineering and art, his growth on and off the field, and more. So let's get to it. Here's my conversation with Kyson Brown. All right, Kyson, so on opening night, you take that short pass, you have some blockers in front, you cut inside, you have some open field in front of you. In that moment, what are the thoughts in your head?
Don't get caught. Just don't get caught. That's the thoughts. But it ended up opening up pretty good. When I first caught the ball and I seen that I had one blocker, I just knew I had to make somebody miss, and it was gonna be open field. So I evaded one tackle and then just made that one move, and I was able to, just turn on a little acceleration and just coast on through it.
What do you think that win on Saturday, especially in the fashion in which you guys were able to get that victory, what do you think it said about this year's 2024 Sun Devil team?
I think it just says that we're a different team. We coming into this season with a different mentality. It shows how much work we put in the off season, and it just shows the different type of guys that we have now. So I think we was able to, exert that on that field, and I think a lot of people seen it.
So obviously that was the latest in a number of big plays you've made over your career. What's the favorite play you've ever made, whether college, high school, perhaps even younger? Just to walk our viewers and listeners through the favorite play that you have ever made.
Well, that's my new favorite play. But before then, it'll probably be in high school. I had a 99-yard run, 99-yard touchdown, but I think it was a safe play of the game or something like that. That was probably my favorite play because I probably hit my top speed, the fastest I ever ran probably then. So that was my favorite play.
How did that play develop? Was it just kind of an inside run you busted? You get to the outside, turn a corner?
It was a mid-zone play. And they was just trying to get out of the end zone, and I ended up breaking one tackle, and then it was a foot race, and I was able to win out.
So this offseason, young guys like you, Keith, CJ, have all been really vocal about how bought into this program, to the vision, to being a Sun Devil you are. What are some of the things that gives you and those other guys the confidence in the direction of the program?
Well, I think it just comes with, being here a whole year. I mean, we got to see, and we kind of get to see the progress that the culture has made since we've been here, and we got to see the difference in what it has been and what it can be. So I think us realizing that Coach Dilly has a plan, and Coach Dilly's idea of bringing this new culture around has actually changed us and changed the program so far since we've been here. I think that's allowed us to, be vocal and share that, we're bought into what he's preaching. And I think that just allows, our voices to be heard and allow a lot of the younger guys and even some of the other guys to follow us.
Now that you've been here a year and you mentioned you've seen that kind of the buy-in kind of on the upswing, where have you seen kind of the biggest changes in the collective culture of this program, from where it is now in year two to, perhaps the early stages of last season?
I think just a lot of the guys are bought in. A lot of the guys, they pay attention to the little things. We actually, learn more about, football just in general. A lot of the guys, you could tell who loves the game. I think we have more of that than we did last year. A lot of the guys, take more pride in, what they do. We brought in a lot of new guys, and I think the competitiveness of every position group's room and just in general has risen since last year. So I think those are the key factors that's played a part in that.
And going back to last year for a little bit, have you ever been a part of a season just so weird? Obviously, so many external things thrown at you, thrown at the program. And obviously new coach on top of everything, and the injury bug that hit the team. ever just been a part of its season just with so many external challenges?
I actually have. Like, it was my sophomore year when COVID first came out. It was a weird season. We were doing pretty good as a team, but like when it came around, it was just like a lot of new things that we didn't know how to treat. Like we didn't know how to treat, certain situations. It was like new rules being made about, if you had COVID this and, quarantining this. And it was just a lot of ups and downs of just the rules. So it kind of reminded me of that season, but I think that last year it was just a lot of newness and a lot of just, I think we needed that reset button. I think that year was like just the reset for us, and I think that we kind of felt that.
Now you of course got some playing time as a true freshman. How do when you look back and review your 2023 season as you kind of turn that page into this year? What were some of the things that kind of jumped out about your performance and your self evaluation?
About last year?
Yeah.
I got to just evaluate how my game translates in college. I just got to see how fast the game moves now, and I got to see that the guys that are on the field, they're the same guys that were in high school, just a little faster, just a little stronger. I mean, so kind of coming into college, I was thinking that it was just such a drastic change in athletes and just this, but at the end of the day, I had to learn just to trust myself and trust my game that I'm prepared. And I think that's last year kind of was the evaluation for me to see that, I actually have what it takes and I'm actually built for, this and more. So I think that's what that was for me.
You're going through all the adversity that this program went through in 2023. What were some of the biggest and most valuable lessons that you were able to kind of pull away from your first season at the college level?
Some valuable lessons I learned, just keep pushing through. We had a lot of games where, we weren't doing too well, and just learned from me, just, push through, don't give up, And I think that's the biggest thing, competing, being tough, being smart. I think those are some of the things that I just learned from last season.
Now, along with the other returners on this team right now, how do you feel going through that adversity has really kind of helped you guys and better prepare you guys for the 2024 and the seasons ahead?
I think it just allows us to see that we could be put in any type of situation, and it gives us that chip on our shoulder that we never want to go back there. So I think it helps us practice harder, plan harder, study harder. I think it allows us to translate, the emotions that we had from last year and the things that we felt from last year and just the things that we wanted from last year. It allows us to translate that to now to actually putting in the work for it, actually putting in the time for it, making the sacrifices for it. Those are some of the things that we learned from last year.
Now, of course, you're not just excelling on the football field, also in the classroom as a member of the Barrett Honors College. What is that like? Just obviously, there's so much on the plate of any student athlete. You throw on an honors college on top of that. How have you navigated, all the requirements that are thrust upon you?
I can't say it hasn't been difficult at times because it has, but I think that we have so much support here at Arizona State. I mean, we have great support in our athletic facilities and the mentors that we have. I think they've helped me maneuver around certain deadlines and certain assignments, helping me complete some assignments, and just I think they just support us a lot. So I think just having that support from Arizona State, it just helped me motor around being in the Barrett.
What have you liked about the life out here in the desert for the last year?
It's definitely different. The culture is different. I like just the vibe. It's like a cool, kind of chill vibe out here. It's a little different from where I'm from in Texas. So I like just, scenery, the usual.
So we want to go back to the start of your football journey. What was the start? What got you into football?
So when I was young, my brothers, they played football. And I was the youngest brother, and I kind of looked up to them. And then I seen how they played and, the fun that they had. So I kind of followed in their footsteps. And they was the big brothers. They used to rough me around in the backyard, throw the ball around. So that's kind of what got me into football. And then once I actually got into it, I actually just fell in love with it, like just the love of just running down the field, tackling, the ball in my hand, whatever it was.
What were some of your earliest football memories? Do you remember your first touchdown in a game?
Oh yeah, I remember. It's crazy that you just said that because my first ever touchdown was like a 99-yard touchdown, and I guess it reminds me of the one from high school. But I was in Little League, and they just like back then we had a huddle, and the coaches used to tell you like, get the ball, run this way, and then so I remember the coach telling me, get the ball, you're gonna run this way. I got the ball and I ran the opposite way. So I mean, that's probably the first memory I ever have of my first touchdown.
So of course, you played some high school ball in Texas, but originally from Mississippi. So, what's the football scene like in Mississippi?
Man, it's a lot of dogs in Mississippi. It's a lot of dogs that don't get discovered sometimes, and there's a lot of dogs that do. And I think Mississippi produced some of the best athletes in the country.
What were some of the biggest differences when you kind of made that move from Mississippi over to Texas?
I think the biggest differences between ball in Texas and ball in Mississippi, in my opinion, is really just the skill level. Like, I think athletes in Texas, they, perfect their craft a little more, and like it's more so, it's kind of up the level as far as in the skill position, in my opinion.
When did you realize that your abilities and skills in football could really take you places like, potentially, to land you a college scholarship one day?
I realized it from the jump. Like when I first started playing, I realized that, it's something I wanted to do. Of course, as a kid, you see older NFL athletes and college athletes playing, and I knew like that was something I wanted to do. And I knew like once I start something, I always go hard in it. So I knew like this is something that I wanted to do. And regardless of, how hard it was going to be, I always knew that it was going to take me far.
Even at younger ages, was it a challenge, kind of navigating, your success in the classroom that ultimately landed you a spot in the honors college and, your athletics?
It's never been that hard for me. I feel like as long as I always brought the same ante that I brought to football in the classroom. And my parents have always been tough on me in the classroom. Like I say, they probably were my coaches off the field because they never settled for less. They never let me settle for like B's and stuff like that. So, yeah.
What ultimately sold you on Arizona State?
Ultimately, it was my coach, Coach Iguano. We had plenty of talks, about just life, not even just football, life. And at the end of the day, I wanted to have a relationship with my coach on more of a personal level. And I feel like that, if I call Coach Iguano right now, I know he'll call, and if I needed something, I know he'll pick up. So that was probably the biggest selling point, but it's all the little things that added up too. I mean, this is one of the top places for my major, architectural engineering. Then they had the honors college, and then carried on with such a great place it is. Just in general, the mountains was something new for me. The weather was something different. Of course, the summer weather, but the weather in general, was something new for me. So it was just a complete marriage that was between my choice.
You mentioned your major, and we'll dive into that in here in a second. But do you have the coolest major on the team? That we chatted a little bit at Camp T about it. But who are some other guys that maybe have something that can compete with yours?
I really don't know who has some crazy majors. I know we have a couple scientific majors. I know we got a couple of those, but I don't know who really has some outlandish majors.
All right, so we'll award the title to you for now. So you mentioned architectural engineering major. What was the kind of the genesis of that? What got you into wanting to pursue that career path?
Architecture engineering just came along when I was thinking about what I wanted to do in college. Just really the creative aspect of creating something, drawing something, seeing it being able to see it come to life, or designing someone's house, or designing this building. Like I always thought, what was the process behind how this came to life, and I was always just infatuated with seeing things like that. So when I was digging into what I wanted to do, I knew I wanted to do something in that area. So architecture engineering just ended up being something that was like spot on with what I wanted to do. So yeah, that's what helped me pick my major.
And I believe you mentioned that you have an interest in art and drawing and being creative in that aspect. Is that something that just from early times as a kid, or was there something that really kind of spurred that interest in the creative arts?
Yeah, I think it was just something a little trick on my sleeve that I had as a kid. I used to just draw in class, draw on the back of notebooks, draw on the back of books, stuff like that. Something that I just used to do in my off time.
What's the coolest thing you've ever drawn?
Myself, probably myself, because like I knew I could actually I was actually talented when I drew myself, and I was like, this actually looks like exactly like me. And then I had classmates look like, bro, you drew that? Like, how did you do that? And then so probably myself, and then I drew Batman before. Just really anything I could lay my eyes on.
How old were you when you did the self-portrait?
It was in my freshman year.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
So what are some of the other things that when you get away from football and obviously the stuff that's thrown at you in the classroom and as a football player, but when you have a chance to decompress, what are the things that kind of make Kyson Brown tick?
I just like to chill for real. I like to draw, like I said, I like to draw. I play the game sometimes with my friends, with K1 and his streaming. I like to play the game. I really like watching movies, watching TV. And then other than that, that's pretty much it. I like, hanging out with some of the teammates, just horse playing around, chopping it up with them, kind of being a little social. So.
Speaking of the game, do you think that the folks at EA are going to maybe adjust your ratings after Saturday's performance?
Yeah, man, I need a little boost in that speed. Need a boost in that speed, man.
You mentioned Shaniguano, of course, having the impact and being one of the primary reasons you ended up in Tempe. Now that you've had a year working with him, where have you seen the greatest impact that he's made on your game, both on and off the field?
Man, I've seen a tremendous change in my game from last year to now. Just the little things like, my reads and having my eyes right on certain reads and having my eyes right in pass protection. Like, I feel like I've grown most with my football IQ mentally than just physically being able to make a cut or do certain moves. Because I feel like I've been able to make any move, or I've been able to do anything physically capable on the field. It's just the mental aspect of it. And I think because Iguana has helped me lengthen that and strengthen that and actually free my mental and allow me to play more free on the field. So that's probably where he's helped me grow most on the field. And I'd say off the field, he's really just made the transition of being away from my family a little smoother. Just the talks we have, the meetings we have together. I even ate at his house for Thanksgiving, just little things like that, just make the transition off the field a little smoother. So it's more of a family feel.
So of course, heading to the Big 12, it's going to be a lot more presence in your home state, or your adopted home state of Texas, and you even got a trip here, or coming next year to your home state of Mississippi.
Yeah.
What is it like, just being part of heading with this program to playing in the Big 12 and that brand of football?
Man, I mean, it feels the same to me. I think it's going to be a little bit more exciting now because I get to play more, some hometown people. Some more people from closer around the way. Then I get to see a little bit more friends and family. They're able to make it to some of those closer games. So I think that's going to be fun to have and good to have a lot more family around for the games. A lot more friends and family than before. So I think that's going to be the biggest, aspect of, being in the Big 12 for me.
Of course, you're part of a very deep, very talented running back room. A lot of very good, valuable guys and productive guys. in that room with you. What is it like just, being in a group, that talented, that deep, but, obviously at the end of the day, just one football to go around?
Yeah, I mean, it's not much of a selfish as you would think. Like, we all trying to play, we all want to get on the field, but at the end, it's not that type of game with us. I mean, we all realize that we can help each other. We can all eat. You know what I'm saying? So it's in practice. You know that you have to compete, and every day in practice, you know that you're competing. But it allows us to grow. It allows us to get better. And at the end of the day, we take care of each other. So it's never like someone's trying to outdo someone or do overly do or talk down on somebody. It's always we're trying to help each other. But at the end of the day, it allows us to compete and grow and get better. And that's at the end of the day better for the team.
So fans are now seeing you, obviously hit the end zone wearing the number 2, number change from last year. What's the significance for the number 2 for you?
Man, number 2, second year. I just feel like it only fat right. Just my second year, and then it's just thinking about the number 2. It kind of gives me the chills. It's just like a lot of different things in my life that's like second chance wise, and I think that's kind of why that number just sprung up. I think thinking about the term of just second chance. I've had a lot of second chances in my life at things, so I think that number kind of fits me this year.
So as you head into your sophomore year, and obviously off to a really terrific start after Saturday, what would you like the fans to know about who Kyson Brown is and who they're cheering for?
I like the fans to know that I'm actually a person outside of on the football field, because sometimes people don't really know how athletes act outside of football. But outside the football field, I'm a great person. I'm a cool person, approachable person. I think on the football field, you can expect big plays from me. I mean, that's what I do. I make plays. I'm a team player. I work hard. I'm all for the Sun Devil Nation, man. I'm trying to just do my part and help the program get to where it's supposed to be. And I want to see us flourish. I want to see us grow. And, I want to see us getting wins. You know what I'm saying? Being where we're supposed to be. And I think that the Sun Devil Nation is on the come up.
So ultimately, the season's off to a great start, but when you ultimately, a few months from now, when you look back on this 2024 season, what are the things that you're going to want to see that you've been able to accomplish, the team's been able to accomplish, in order for you to say 2024 was a success?
I think for me to say that 2024 was a success, I think for me it's just seeing the progress in my game, like just seeing that everything that I worked on, like seeing little things like me being able to break a certain tackle or make a certain move or read a certain defense. I think being able to see that translate to the field over any stat is always going to be a win for me. Just knowing my game grew and knowing I got better, I think that's going to be, I got better this year, or this year was a success. For the team, of course you want to see wins, but I think at the end of the day it comes to how hard we're playing, how tough we're playing, and if we're being able to execute. I think having those things, I think the wins will come just us executing as an offense, or us, playing hard as a team, us playing as a collective team, as a collective group. I think those things will allow me to say, we had a successful season. And of course the wins and the success and all the accolades will come with it just because,
I'd like to thank Kyson for taking the time to talk with me for this episode. Make sure you are subscribed to Speak of the Devils on the podcast platform of your choice for more great Sitdown Series episodes with ASU football players, coaches, as well as the flagship show covering your 2024 season all year long. And also be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at bdenny29.